Hello everyone and welcome. And today we will talk about what you should focus on when you are uh, in this year in 2022. If you are building your career in cybersecurity, if you're already working in cybersecurity and you want to move to the next phase, to the next step in your career, what you should focus on, what companies are talking about, what is the skills that are needed right now in 2022. Um, this session is all about this, and we have in the last couple of years, there are some topics that became more important and some skills, specific skills, that became more important than the others. In the past, people were focusing on, let's say, web bin testing or infrastructure bin testing or even raw malware analysis. But there are lots of things that are shifting. And I started to see the patterns here. With the meter attack, for example, there's a change of um, there's a change in the market. Everybody wants people to understand, not only to understand what meter attack is about or what is or how to use the how to map different things into meter attack, but how these attacks, how all this list of attacks look like, how they are happening in real life, and how we can protect our organization from them. The Active Directory attacks become more important than before. The cloud attacks, especially Azure AD attacks, the red teaming and simulating real attacks. Add to this that most of the costly attacks that's happening right now is either target ransomware or supply chain attacks, and this became a really big topic now. Everybody's talking about them, especially target ransomware. After SolarWinds, also the topic about Office 365 and Azure AD attacks became really common. The talk about the supply chain attacks became really a big topic. So what you should focus on, what exactly the skills you should need, that's what we're gonna focus on as well. In this session, we will also answer your questions. Um, Make sure that you get your answers all for all your questions. I know some of you guys are preparing, and we are live on YouTube. Perfect. Um, I'm not sure where is my live on LinkedIn. I don't even see it. Ah, I can see my live as well on LinkedIn. So let's start with some questions. So I see um, Ayan Ali, Ayan Ali, can you please tell us where we should start malware analysis or make a future in this field? Which language should I learn? I'm a student of computer science. Very good question. So, talking about the top focus or what you should focus on in 2022, you should focus if you want to go with the malware analysis path. You should focus on the target ransomware attacks and the target attacks in general, which includes malware analysis and as well incident response and a little bit of log analysis, packet analysis, a little bit of digital forensics and memory forensics. So malware analysis, in-depth malware analysis, is needed by the companies who produce signatures, like antivirus companies, or produce whatever the type of security products like FireEye and so on. But when it comes to um, the other companies like banks and different insurance companies and all of this stuff, all of these companies, they want a strong incident response team that can deal with the malware attacks. So they want somebody who's probably good in malware analysis, but also really good in the whole incident response process and understand the whole attack and how it works. When it comes to programming language, there is a conversation that I had a few days ago on a comment of one of my posts about programming and that programming is always needed in malware analysis. And here's the thing, I want to differentiate between learning the syntax of programming languages, understand the basics like what's variables, what's functions, what's loops, and all of that, and between programming as a whole science. Programming as a science, you really have to learn so many things to be a programmer. You have to learn object-oriented programming. You have to learn how to convert a human a problem or a solution into computer logic, how to convert a human logic into computer logic, and all the steps about them. And then how to convert that into an object-oriented code, and then from object-oriented code, how you can debug it, how you can improve the performance, how to design a big application, how you make different parts of the program interact together, and how you can make them develop separately and separate functionalities and so many different things inside the programming world that you don't really need to get into them. In computer science and in cybersecurity in general, so many people who go into cybersecurity are not coming from computer science. Um, they are coming from administration background. Administration doesn't have anything about programming, and they go into cybersecurity. They don't have the programming skills, and that's absolutely okay. Most of the fields don't need you to be a real programmer or probably just a scripter. When it comes to malware analysis, to get your first job in malware analysis, you don't need to actually learn programming. You need to understand the syntax, understand variables, the basics of programming, and basics of C++, and then translate that into assembly and understand how you can read code, how you can extract clues out of that code to understand the malware. Might be lots of code inside that malware, but there is one command that makes you understand so many things, like download uh, download URL to file, for example. It's clear that it downloads a file from the internet and save it on a file. What are the arguments? You can start to do malware analysis and start to monitor the behavior and understand that the first argument is a URL, let's say malware.com. So you know that this is the malware domain. And then it's being written in temp or application data in the name malware.exe. So you know that the malware.exe in the application data, this is the path where the malware is being saved and executed. So you can give these IOCs to the other teams, and they can work on that. So that's basically um, when it comes to malware analysis. You don't need to learn programming per se, but if you want to learn a scripting language or to make different things, which will be highly useful for you, and as well you will need to learn it at some point after your first job. You can learn programming along your career. Like, you can start without any programming background, just understand the syntax, understand how to analyze the malware. But then later on in your career, you will need programming along the way, and you can have all your life to learn programming step by step. The best language in the market is always Python. Python is the second top language in GitHub after JavaScript, and it really helps you to automate so many different things when it comes to malware analysis. Um, it's not as close language to assembly compared to C++, for example. C++ is really good language to understand assembly. It's good to understand C++ so you can easily understand assembly. And when we teach in our training, we teach a little bit C++, and then we move to assembly, and then we compare them together because we know that this is the kind of the needed foundation here. But Python is an additional language to script and to make things easier. So that's why you will need at some point Python or any of these scripting languages. Python is the most. Um, can I have your email? Yes, of course. You can reach out to me on maltrack.com. Let me share the screen. If you go to maltrack.com, here's my website, and you can go to about us or to contact, and you can contact me from here, or my email is amar.thabit at maltrack.com. So that's basically my email. You can reach out to me here, or you can reach out to me from here. Um, so, uh, Arjun from YouTube. Hi, I see lots of people started to comment from YouTube. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Um, We start to have some engagement here. I'm sorry about what happened with the delay on YouTube. There was a little bit of an issues with the streaming platform. Anyway, so so continuing on the main topic of today, what you should focus on in your career in cybersecurity. What I see that one of the biggest topics that's right now that people are talking about is meta attack. A meta attack framework is not just a framework. It's not just mapping different things into techniques. Oh, this is command control. This is process injection. This is not what meta attack is about. You need to really take meta attack and understand all the different techniques that are there. Um, if we go to let's say to meta attack navigator, I will share the screen now again. If we go here, this is all the different tactics, techniques, and procedures that the attacker might use to attack an organization. The question is not what is their names and how we can map activities to them, but the most important is how all of these techniques actually happen in real life. How do they look like? If I go into phishing, what phishing with attachment looks like, how malicious macro looks like. Um, what is phishing with serfs or with a link? How with a link looks like? How that looks like in real life? There is, let's say, a case where they send OneNote link, and with OneNote there is something, and then SharePoint or these different links, or links to OneDrive or Dropbox, where you click on the link, it automatically download the document or download the malicious file or a zip file, and from this zip file all of the other things happen. And many cases that these links do bypass different sandboxes. Supply chain, how it works. Then you go into execution. You see in execution multiple different languages. How this malware look like in real life and how you can detect them. How mostly malware using these techniques. If you go to any of these, you can view the technique here, or just right click and then view technique, and here you will have a description about this technique. You'll have different attacks that has used this technique in them. ABT29 is the solar winds attack as far as I remember, and this was really a big attack in December 2020. It was one of the top attacks in the last few years. So it's good to look at how this attack works and how they used this technique specifically in them, and then look at all these different references. Try to look into how that works in real life. Maybe not the Python one, but maybe other techniques that are more important. Let's say something like bits job. What's bits job? What does that mean? How it's being used in attacks? How it helps maintaining persistence, also how it helps to bypass defenses, and look at examples of how they are being used in real malware, in real attacks, and then think about how I can protect against them, how I can detect them. If I have a sim, what is the best rule, detection rule that can detect them? I know it might be your sim is so intelligent it can detect them automatically, but you don't need to outsource your knowledge. Learn the knowledge and then outsource the detection routines and all of this stuff. You need to learn this for you to move forward in your career. And even if you are in your organization, you don't need to rely on the products. It's good to have these products for detection, but you need to understand how they work. And then you can think, okay, what are the caveats? What are the weaknesses? How they can be easily bypassed? You will always think your products is the best until you know how this tool actually works, how the attack actually works, and then you will automatically start, your brain will start to automatically find ways to bypass these security systems. If you know that my sim detects all the types of bits job. Oh, but by the way, there are different types of attacks in BitsJob. Or are different things that might be believed to be legitimate, and my sim will not include them, will not alert on them, but they are actually malicious. And you start to understand what are the weaknesses that your sim might have. And then you start to think, okay, how I can improve that, how I can test at least with red teaming or purple teaming, and all of that. So here they also give you a little bit about detections. This detections is from, I think, from Meta Defend, if I believe. Um, I believe so. Anyway, they give you a little bit of information about the detections and as well lots of references. So I do recommend you to dive deep into all these different techniques. And what you will use them for? You will use them for threat hunting. You will use them for red teaming. And these two topics are the most blooming topics right now in cybersecurity. Red teaming, which is the next level of penetration testing, it doesn't focus on just the weaknesses of the web or the infrastructure. It focuses on simulating a real attack. Let's say, oh, let's simulate a target ransomware attack. How it will look like step by step, how they will go into the website, or they will go into the client side attacks or phishing or social engineering, all the different techniques they will use. They might abuse the cloud, they might abuse different services, and how not only how they will compromise a server or a machine, how they will move laterally inside the organization, whatever through the normal workstations and the on-prem style or on-premise Active Directory, or they will go through the cloud. And that is a really more invested topic right now when it comes to cybersecurity. The other also very known topic in the other side in the defense is the threat hunting. And threat hunting is basically assuming you have been compromised and you try to investigate and try to see if you have been compromised by this technique. If you will look at the meta attack and you really understand them, you might say, oh, I might be compromised by this technique on this environment in this way. How I can detect that? How I know that my SIM is have a blind spot here. How I can investigate that by myself and add new detection routines to detect these attacks in the future. If I'm not already compromised, if I'm already compromised, I will go to instant response. But if I'm not already compromised, I can create new detection rules and detect the new attacks. And that's how threat hunting works. So these two topics are one of the top topics. And malware analysis is really a good foundation for threat hunting and incident response because you learn how the malware works, you learn how all this execution works. I don't know what's that. Anyway, um, how the execution works, and then you also learn about um, how the whole attacks in general looks like. And threat hunting is a kind of knowledge that's based on all of this. So now how we can detect it, how we can stop it, and so on. When it comes to red teaming, you need to learn how to develop your own malware, how to develop your own scripts, at least PowerShell script or PHP script, how to develop your own web shell if you will develop a web shell, how you can bypass defenses and how real attacks will work. And these two sides are really, really the foundation, or I would say, is really the most demanded topics right now in 2022. Add to this too the cloud security. Let's clear this up. Now, most of the organizations are more modern than before. In the past, there were everything on premise. You use client-side attacks, or you attack different websites. You go into a web on-premise server, or a physical server inside the company, and from there you start moving inside the organization and attack the whole organization, conquer the whole organization. But now organizations do have lots of lots of parts of them inside the cloud, either AWS or Azure or cloud or Google Cloud or wherever the cloud is, and they have kind of an extension to them. Some people use AWS, some companies use Azure, some companies use both, some companies use Google Cloud, and we'll talk about that and which one you should learn first. But now most of companies they have this modern system. They also have a way for people to use like an enterprise application where they just log in into, let's say, Okta or their Azure or whatever, and then they can use this single sign-on to log into any other applications used by the enterprise. So let's say you have Workday, you don't need to Workday is used for management your holidays, your days off, your vacation, all of this stuff. And you don't need to log in again to Workday, or you don't need to have a username and password like in the past. Now you log into your organization web portal, and from there you just click on Workday, and you automatically logged into Workday. How this happens, how this, you call it single sign-on, how that actually happens, and how that can be compromised to actually take over the user credentials, or to take over the server, or whatever the attack might be. So that's also another topic. The the organizations right now are very modern. They have lots of cloud functionalities. The emails are in the cloud, your Google email or Office 365 emails. They have the Office 365 or OneDrive, or they have Google Docs and Google Drive. They do have so many different surfaces. They are integrated with the organization, and these all of these integrations happen to be integrated on the Active Directory level, and that means if these cloud services are compromised, the organization can be compromised as well. We'll talk more about that, but before I go dive into this, let me take some of the questions. So I hear a question here. I want to become a cybersecurity specialist, offensive side, but I'm not able to find the way. Can you please tell me what should we do, and which field is more demanded on the market right now in cybersecurity? That's what we are talking about. And when it comes to offensive side, there are multiple things you can learn. There's web attacks, web bin testing, there's infrastructure bin testing, there is vulnerability assessment, there is red teaming, there is there is as well cloud attacks, and cloud attacks can be part of all of this. And what I would say is that they are all useful. You all need to learn about all of them, but what you can specialize in right now is the best red teaming. So why? Because when it comes to web, there is so many web pen testers. I know people, especially in the Arabic world, they don't like when I talk like that, but it's the truth, right? We all know that. The web pen testing, there's so many people who are working in web pen testing, so many candidates, more than the job offers. Big bug bounties are really good, or web bug bounties are really good, but they cannot be a real sustainable life from the, at least for the majority of people, not the top 1%. I'm talking about the majority. When it comes to infrastructure bin testing and the whole Kali Linux attacks and stuff like that, they are really foundational knowledge. You need to learn them, but at the same time, this is not something to be your unique value, because there's so many people who know about infrastructure penetration testing, and as well, it's not commonly used in real attacks. You don't see real attacks where they do um, they do like in map, and then they see open ports, and then they try to hack the open ports, and they try different exploits and use metasploit. Like, you don't see this stuff. And if something went to metasploit, you should know that not all organizations are protected from them, but they are at least well aware that they have a vulnerability there. Except if their level of security is very low, then you will not have that. Look at it this way: the infrastructure penetration testing is the base. A company needs always this infrastructure penetration testing to know where they, like, to know the basic to have the base of security, to know that okay, we are now quite secure. Now let's look at if there is any attack path that might compromise our system. So it's not really the thing that companies will be dreading for. It's the kind of the usual surfs, and there are always so many candidates, so many different jobs, but there is always more candidates in penetration testing. Is not something that companies will be crazy about. But what companies are really crazy about right now is the ABT attacks and the target attacks in general. That includes target ransomware, supply chain attacks, cloud attacks, and all of this, and how red teaming can simulate all of these attacks so the company can make sure that they are protected against the attacks that's happening right now. Most of the companies that have been compromised, they have already tried. They already have done so many times penetration testing, they have done so many times vulnerability assessment, but somehow all of this has missed really critical security weaknesses, and red teaming or real attacks is able to compromise them. And red teaming trying to cover this type of attacks. So I would say this is the most demanded right now. And unfortunately, red teaming does not really have, well, unfortunately in the past, that they didn't have really a good source to learn it from. But right now we have inside Maltrack, we do cover red teaming. We do have, if you let me share the screen, we do have in Maltrack multiple trainings related to red teaming. So we have the advanced red teaming, weaponization, adversary simulation, where we simulate a real attack. We develop our own backdoor. We bypass defenses. We bypass different EDRs, or endpoint detection response, antivirus products, IDS, IPS, firewalls, how we can bypass all of this, how we can also learn about the cloud as well and cloud attacks. And this is really summarize what companies really looking for in 2022. What I always focus here is that I always try to give my best advice first. And then I convert my best advice, like people, I say, the best thing right now to learn is red teaming. This red teaming um, attacking the, like simulating a real attack, simulating a real EBT attack. This is the most demanded right now. I can see that in the market. I can see that there's not lots of candidates in this field. The companies are always afraid of the ransomware attacks, and oh, this company has been attacked by ransomware and they lost millions of dollars. And this has been attacked and this has been attacked, and we probably will be at some point. So they are living in fear, and this fear makes them go after anyone, any talent, or any product, or any service that can help them mitigate this fear, mitigate any risk that might happen. And learning these skills, you will be the one they are looking for to solve this problem, to solve the fear they have. And luckily, there's not lots of people in red teaming. There's many people in web, there's many people in infrastructure, penetration testing, but there's not a lot in red teaming, and that's the best part. And then once I found that this is the best advice, okay, why not I convert, I tell you also the how, like this is what you should learn. Now how you should learn this, okay, we will have a program, a live training where we cover that. This live training will be in August 22 to 25th. If that is too far away in August, you can try our recorded version, or our on-demand training. It's a pre-recorded training with all the different samples, with all the different things you need to with all the malware development part, how to bypass different defenses. It's really hands-on, full hands-on, and it's really in-depth. And it's called In-Depth Red Teaming, ABT, and Adversary Simulation. It talks about it goes from phishing, talks about the cloud, especially building your infrastructure in the cloud. It talks about so many different topics that's needed right now in the market. That's what's the most important. You can check it out. You can check this one, or if you want it live in a crash course, 4 days with the recordings as well, you can also join the advanced red teaming that will be in August. So it's up to you. Um, so that's for the offensive. Um, are you supposed to see? Are we supposed to see slides? No, there's no slides. I'm just talking head as they call it. Um, Thanks, James, for the question. Another question I would say. Another question I see. I would like to know how I can fill the gap between skill and jobs. Thanks in advance. This is a very good question. And actually, the answer is, like, first, how this question came from. Like, it's supposed to be the skills is what fits with the job. You are learning a skill to basically do the job. There should be no gap. The gaps happen in universities. The skills you learn in cybersecurity diplomas or cybersecurity masters program from universities, they are very, very theoretical and very, very far from real life. Then you learn something there, and the job is completely different. And that's really a big gap. Always the academia and the real work is they're talking in a different world, and there's always a big gap of them. Also, unfortunately, that are some big um, trainings that or certifications that also contributes to that part. I wouldn't mention a specific company, but let's say OSCP is very practical with labs and everything. You really learn a skill here, but that doesn't really happen in other certificates, in so many other very known certificates that you don't really have something practical that you can use when you are working in a company. Um, and that's a really big problem. So to 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 really conquer that gap, you need to first, if you are going for any certification, if you are going for any training, if you are going for any way to learn a specific skill, learn in the most practical way, the most hands-on way. Don't go also after CTFs because CTFs is not really close to the job. Most of the CTFs, or many of them, are not really close to real life. They are they are a challenge, but they are not really meant to be like your day-to-day work in a company. I saw that, especially in malware, they are not really practical. They are like, oh, a malware that is 64 or Linux that has this and this and that, or has Python or Auto8. That's good, but they are not really common, unfortunately. Um, so the main malware that we see in real life, I don't see them in CTFs, for example. And what I'm trying also always to do um, is to cover all of this in my trainings. So, for if you ask how to cover, how to bridge the gap or fill the gap between skill and job, just learn skills from sources that teach you how the job looks like, from people who already done the job you are really want to apply to. I've worked in semantic, I've worked in Tenable, I've worked in really malware analysis in an antivirus company, see how that looks like. And I have experienced that working on vulnerability assessment in a company that produce vulnerability assessment products. I saw how that works. And now I teach based on my experience on these jobs and as well the experience I'm earning through my career in general, and it's more practical, close to the real jobs. So when I give an advice or give some labs or different things, I make sure that is as close as possible to the real jobs. So there is no real gap here. And that's what I always try to tell people, like, don't go for, even if you go to other trainings, like, try to always go, or you're learning from YouTube or whatever, try to always go to the you always learn your skills from places, from people who already worked in the jobs you want to work at, who already teach exactly like the job that they are that you want to hire. They are learn the skill in a way that is very close to the job you are planning to apply to, not too far from it. Don't learn from YouTube videos from people who never worked in the field, or from CTFs that's just a challenge, is not close to the reality, and not universities or certifications that are not practical. Just learn from what's practical. And the best sources to learn reverse engineering, I we have a complete training about that. Let me share the screen again. Um, we have a complete training called hands-on malware analysis and incident response. This training is 4 days. We have made a 3 days version in Hack in Paris 2021 last year, and this is a 4 days version. It's the most up to date. It's a live training, and it's really very practical, learning reverse engineering and malware analysis. And when we teach malware analysis, we teach malware analysis and reverse engineering. We don't teach just how malware looks like and then leave you to learn reverse engineering by yourself. We teach from the basics of assembly, the basics of C++, how you can analyze little things, and then how to analyze a real malware, how to analyze a packed malware, encrypted malware, how to unpack malware, how to deal with real ransomware attack, how to deal with malware that's targeting the cloud, and so on. We have this live trainings happening in June from 13 to 16. You can check out on, let's know my website name, and check it out on maltrack.com. This is the name of our website, and we have all the information here. And we have been teaching the training to companies, to professionals or working in different companies, and we have been teaching that to also students who are planning to work in this field. So this is the knowledge that's needed for companies. There's no gap between skill and job here. It's mainly for the job. And we have that live version, and as well we have and we as well have it on a recorded version. We have the malware instant response training, and it's the same way. You can you can check it out on our website, and you can register from there. And that's it. And talking about the cloud, why I'm talking about the cloud recently a lot is because I do see that the cloud topic is something that lots of companies are now talking about. It starts first, some people adapting the technology, but doesn't really affect the organizations so much, and then people start talk about different weaknesses, different attack vectors of the on the cloud in conferences like Black Hat, like DEF CON, all of these different conferences, and then we start to see that moved the into the the wild, and start we see real attacks that compromises cloud platforms. We start to see something like SolarWinds that used Office 365 and Azure AD to compromise SolarWind company, and then get into the development environment, and from there they were able to compromise the or able to infect the SolarWinds product with a malware, and this malware spread to all the different companies. So it all started with a cloud attack, and cloud is getting more and more important. I haven't been talking a lot about it recently, but now I can see it's becoming a big thing. And if you are asking, okay, which cloud we are talking about, there are different vendors. There's AWS, there's Azure, there's Google Cloud, um, there's I don't know, there is Oracle Cloud, there's Alibaba Cloud. Which one we should focus on? First, there are three top in the market: AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. The more commonly used is AWS and Azure, and Google is trying to catch up, might catch up at some point, might not. There is a big difference between AWS and Azure in how companies are using them. AWS is mostly used as an additional product in the company. A company that, if the companies already exist, they use AWS for a specific project they have. Let's say they want some machine learning on big data analytics and some computer vision and some internal product or some external product, whatever it is. But this product will be all built in AWS. If the attacker compromised all of their AWS environment, he just compromised that project or that product. Recently, startups are building all their product, everything about their company in AWS, so they are AWS native. But that's the startups. The existing enterprises, they're using AWS just for a project or for two, three projects, and not really for the whole organization. So if you compromise them, you don't really compromise the whole organization. If you compromise the whole AWS environment for a big company, a defense company or a medical insurance company, you might have compromised some of their internal products or some of their or maybe parts of their website, specific product they have, but you didn't really compromise the whole infrastructure. Azure is a little bit different. Azure and also Google Cloud, but Azure mainly, is more integrated into the organization. All the employees are using their email on Office 365, and they are using OneDrive, and they exchanging links from OneDrive to OneDrive links and documents through that. They also use the Office itself, Office 365, from Word, from Excel, from PowerPoint, and because of that, the whole organization is kind of integrated with Azure. Your every user that's on the actual Active Directory or on the on-prem ED is as well on Azure ED. That creates a really big problem. Really, Azure become like kind of an extension to a company. They want additional servers, they build in Azure. They want there's a new user has been there's new employee has came to the company. They create an account for him, and this account automatically in Azure as well with the same password. Somebody logs into the Azure cloud, he automatically logs into the on-prem or versus versa, which create a really big problem because if Azure is being compromised, if the Azure environment is being compromised in an enterprise that is using Azure in this way, it means the whole organization is compromised. Because once the attacker controls the Azure environment for a company, the cloud environment for them, he has access to all users. He can reset the password for any user. He can he can access all the passwords for all users, and he can easily move to become a domain admin in the actual on-prem servers and actually take over the whole organization. So it's a really Azure ED or Azure security is more critical to organizations from what I see than AWS in the enterprise world. In a smaller startups, AWS sometimes is the whole company. Um, ClickFunnels, let's say what I'm using, I'm having my website at, is all based on AWS. The whole program is AWS. It's a company maybe made 4 years ago or 5 years ago, so it's kind of still a startup, but it's the whole product is on AWS. And that if their AWS environment is being compromised, the whole company is compromised because all in AWS. But the older companies, the older enterprises, let's say a petrol company or insurance or bank, they will have Azure AD is way more critical to compromise than AWS. That's from what I see. Google as well, they have Google Mail, they have Google Docs, so it's also if it's compromised, the whole company will be compromised too. Um, any other question about what I'm talking about so far on YouTube? Um, any questions on LinkedIn? Any question for you guys? If there is no question, I will move forward. So I want to tell you guys about something really important. So um, we have talked so far about what you really should focus on when you're building your career in cybersecurity in 2022. And I always try to give the best advice when it comes to what to focus on, what skills to learn, where to practice. Most people they go into the wrong directions, and I have been in the wrong directions for years. I have been studying malware analysis when I was a student, and it took me 3 4 years until I started to learn what is the things that's needed right now in the market. Once I understood what is in the market right now, what's the big buzzword, this is where my path went from like this to way up in my career, in my not my skills, but in my career, in how companies perceive me and perceive my skills and how they look at me as from an amateur to suddenly an expert. I was studying malware analysis for years, but everything I was studying was an old topic, something that is not really important. I was studying type of malware infectors like Sality malware. I don't know if you know about it. Most people don't know, and it really wasn't important. It was on all type of viruses. Once I started to learn more about, okay, this is the what people are talking about now is Stuxnet, and then I started to analyze Stuxnet malware. And on Stuxnet malware, I really my life changed like this. I became from from an amateur student who was trying to learn malware, and lots of people relate to that, especially in the Egyptian community, or lots of you guys can relate to that. I switched from there to become suddenly an expert in so many people's eyes, invited to talk in conferences, invited to speak in universities, despite I'm actually a student still, but I'm invited to speak in a university to the students there in computer science. I was invited to speak in Christian Science Monitor newspaper, and I have been and I got like five different job offers in very small amount of time. And that because I focus on what companies are talking about right now, and that's the advice I want to give you. I don't want to see people going into directions they spend years in them without really getting a specific result, without getting any success. And it's not about learning skill. Learning skills is important, but the most important is how you showcase your skill, how you can really become like how you can solve a bigger problem to companies, how you can solve the biggest problem that companies are facing right now. If you can solve the biggest problem that companies are facing, you are the most valuable employee in the whole company. That's all about it. And that's what I'm trying to give. And actually, um, just in the last week, we opened a door for a new training we are doing. It's not like really a one training; it's actually a master's program that we are building inside Maltrack. And this program is really impressive, and we had like insane feedback, like literally insane feedback in the last week about that program, in the last 2 weeks about that program. This program is called Maltrack Cybersecurity Masters Program. And here's the thing: this is not like any master's program in any university. Most of the others like more theoretical and subject about ethics, subject about this, subject about some concepts that you never use. But this one is super practical. It's really fully practical into what companies want from you right now. This program is really made for people who are starting from completely zero in IT, in cybersecurity, people who are shifting their career. We have people who are doctors, we have people um, who are police officers, we have people from so many different backgrounds, and as well as made for people who are already in the field and wants to go to the next level, whether you are a network security analyst or an IT admin and you want to move to the next level. This program is also for you. And here's why. This program is very specialized and very personalized to every single student who joins. We have very limited number of students we allow in this program, and that gives me the ability to really focus on a personal level on how I can help you build your career. And this program is really in depth. It's a 9 month program, but it's for people who are fully committed, for really committed into their career. And this program will give you access to our entire library of trainings, the malware incident response training, the in-depth threat teaming, to all our entire library of trainings, the Kickstart Your Cybersecurity Career, the C++ programming, not only our own trainings, but also our third-party trainings that we bring, that we believe that these trainings will really help you in achieving your own goals, whatever these goals is to focus on cloud security or on offensive or on defensive, or where you are at. If you are still don't have the programming skills, we will give you all the trainings that's necessary for that, and we'll give you the entire library of our third party partners um, who have lots of trainings that can be useful for you as well in whatever the direction you will take. And as well, we give you access to third-party labs that you can practice all of this. You can hack different companies. You can look at companies being attacked by a real attack, not like a simulation or something, like a real attack. And you can investigate this attack. You can do memory forensics, digital forensics. You can do log analysis, and you can learn how we can protect, how we can detect this attack, how we can investigate it, how we can go in depth, how we can perform all of that. Not only all of this recorded stuff, all our live trainings, and we have 3 live trainings happening this year. You have access to all of them, and we have sorry, it's here. We have the we have the in-depth digital investigation and APT threat hunting that will be in April. You will have full access to this training. You have access to the recordings, and as well, we will be behind you until you really grasp the information of this training. We will give you different labs to practice. You will have the recordings of this training. You will have other recordings of other trainings as well that can supplement and can support that training as well. You will have an exam. You will have everything until you really build your skill in in-depth investigation and ability threat hunting. After that, we'll go into malware analysis and reverse engineering and build you and get you skilled in that field. We'll get you to analyze from malwares. We'll get you to practice and practice and practice and learn from all the library we have, from all the malware we have analyzed, and help you get through that. And also, we'll get you to an exam. We'll make sure that you really grasp this information, and then we'll move to the red teaming. And with red teaming, we'll get into in depth into how to develop your own malware, how to look at attacks from the attacker perspective, look at all these EBT attacks that you are trying to protect the organization against, but from the attacker perspective. To help you in red teaming, in purple teaming, and through all of this, we will this year specifically, we will have more about Azure AD attacks, about AWS attacks, about developing different products in AWS, how you can build your own red team infrastructure, or build a simulation, a company simulation in AWS, how you can build all of that on the cloud, especially on AWS, and learn all the skills is needed in the market right now. So you'll have access to around like 100 hours of live training and their recordings. You have access as well all the to all our entire library of trainings. You have access to our third party trainings, our third party labs, and we have multiple third parties. I think we have around three different third party companies that we collaborate with to bring you all of this knowledge additionally to what we provide here. And we just don't storm you with lots of information. Don't like throw all of this information to you and let you learn by yourself. We give you a program, we give you a specific path to follow. Here's the first training what you need to learn, and this and this that. And this is personalized per every person. So if you have these skills, we'll tell you, don't focus on this, learn that. We have a student who told us, well, I do have the administration part very well. I do have the SOC analysis. I have learned this stuff, but I don't have the programming, and I want to learn cloud. How you can help me with that? That's fine. Let's learn this. Let's learn that. We have an expert who is a DevOps expert on the cloud. He was a CTO in so many companies and so many startups. He can also give you an advice. Here's the different trainings that can help you, and here's an access to them. You don't need to purchase anything. We have everything for you here. We have the labs. We have everything to practice, and as well, you have the IT administration covered. You have the SOC covered. You can now focus on the programming. Let's get you into PowerShell. Let's get you into Python. Let's help you develop that. And let's personalize for every single person who joins. So, what's the prerequisites? Well, the prerequisites is to really be committed, to really be a person who wants to build a career. This is a big investment time wise, big investment commitment wise. And I don't mean with time wise that you really have to study full time. You can study part time, you can study just 10 hours a week or 15 hours a week. But you need to really be committed to study. You can allocate time. You have your own 9 to 5 job. You have your own family. You have your own kids. That's absolutely fine. The 1 2 hours that you use to commute every day, we will just fill that with this training. Or maybe in your lazy Sunday, you can have 8 hours to study for that training. You can find the time, but you really need to be committed. You really need to be committed to work, to study hard, and to really follow the program, really trust the process and follow the process. And we'll be following up with you every single week. We'll be following up with you in a Zoom call where we see where you are at, what's your progress so far, what you have learned, what you should be learning next, what you should focus on, and we will be following your progress along the way. And that is, we have phase one, which is the IT administration and IT core skills. We make sure that you learn administration for Windows on Linux, learn programming fundamentals, especially with PowerShell. Python will be extra if we have time for it, and you can allocate time for that. Or if not, we will learn Python in the next phases, and as well learn about networking and network protocol specific courses, specific parts that you need to focus on. Not you don't need to be bombarded with tons of trainings, but specific knowledge that you really need. After that, you go into cybersecurity fundamentals on SOC analysis. You learn different SOC, learn about log analysis. You learn fundamentals of incident response, fundamentals of malware analysis, how real attacks look like, and as well learn about SOAR and different types of products. Not the products in depth, but not a specific vendor product, especially except Splunk or Elasticsearch. You will not focus on a specific vendor. You will focus on learning how all SIEM works, how SOAR application or security orchestration works, and so on. And and also after that, we'll go into the in-depth investigation and threat hunting. We'll learn about EPT attacks, threat hunting, incident response, packet analysis, digital forensics, PowerShell, and collecting artifacts from across the whole enterprise, and so many different things, and memory forensics. We'll learn about hands-on malware analysis and reverse engineering. You already know my program there. And as well, we will learn about red teaming, which is really useful as a purple teaming. And you will learn how the attack happens from the attacker perspective. You will learn how to develop your own backdoor, how to bypass different security controls that you used to set them up and used to rely on them. Now, how you can actually bypass them, and then you learn, okay, this is how the attacker thinks. This is how I should protect my organization. And if you like, the goal of this training is not to get you to a junior job as a SOC analyst. The goal is to get you 3 4 years of experience compressed in 9 months. You get from there to a senior job, or to an incident handler, to a digital investigator, to a threat hunter, to a really good job with a really good salary. Like, not like I see SOC here, they earn like 35K a year, and it's very, very low. What I'm talking about is like you're earning six-figure salary. That's what I'm targeting. Even if you didn't get there in the first 6 months or 1 year, you're getting there very soon. This is the main goal, is to get you to an expert level, so you can really get a job that pays you well, and you can transition from where you are to cybersecurity without going a drop in your salary, in your lifestyle, and so on. After phase five, after learning through all these live trainings, practicing them with real labs, with different third party, follow up with you, and we make sure that you have learned all the skills and you've mastered them. Now you will work with us, or shadow our team, and see how we do real jobs. Like, you people are asking about the gap between skill and job. Like, here you will work with us with real customers and see how we do that ourselves, and how you can learn from me, from my team, how real job looks like. As well, you will have in your resume this internship in Maltrack, which will really help you. Will give you also the position and the title that really suits you in the future. If you want to work in threat hunting, we will get you to a position to be a threat hunting intern, and as well, you will be working mainly in threat hunting type of tasks. You will be seeing this task and shadowing our team in that task. If you want to be a red teamer, then we'll put you in that as well. And last, we will make sure to bring an HR consultant or a recruitment consultant, an expert who can help you reshape your resume, your cover letter, your LinkedIn profile. And through the whole 9 month program, it's 9 month program, and through the whole 9 month program, we'll make sure that you always know how to showcase your skill in your LinkedIn profile, in your GitHub, in your blog, how to showcase that you have the skills that's needed in the market. Sorry, and not just the skills, but you're able to solve a problem that companies are having right now, and you're able to solve the biggest problem in cybersecurity that companies are facing right now. This is the main thing. You're at the end, you're selling yourself. You are marketing yourself. You when you are selling something, it's the same as you're a consultant, you're having a business, or you're applying for a job. You need to make sure that you are solving a big problem that company has. The bigger the problem they have, and the bigger the problem you can solve for a company, the higher your salary will be, the higher your pay as a consultant, the higher will be your business to be successful. And we will make sure to help you through the process to position you as the expert who can help them solving the biggest problem they have. So we can make sure that you get a really good job, and you as well get the highest paid job in the market. And that's all about it. At the end, it's a really big commitment. It's time commitment. It's a It's an effort commitment. It needs people who are really committed, who are really smart and really willing to study as well. It's a big financial commitment as well. It's the higher end of our products. You can imagine that we have three live trainings. Each one of these live trainings, the early bird price right now is $1,800. So you have access to the three of them. That's like around $5,400, and you have access to Zoom calls to our third-party labs. We already pay thousands to get you all of this, to give you thousands per each student to get access to all of this library of data, all of this library of trainings and labs and so on. So it's a really big program, and it's really the shortest path, like literally the shortest path to be an expert in the market. We really put everything possible, everything from the coaching, from Zoom calls, from live trainings, from recorded trainings, from real labs, and labs that is not CTFs. We don't show you like random CTFs here and there. We give you a real life, real world experience up here. Um, we give you the labs that are as close as possible to the real world. If they're real attacks, like real attackers that really compromise the systems, and you investigate this attack, or when you're attacking a company, we give you a lab that's as close as possible to the real world. We pick the best from all the third party labs, from all the third party data, from what we have, from everything, to make sure that you learn the skills the most practical way, and as well the most needed in the market. We make sure you shape your career and your profile and your resume in a way that guarantees you to get the job as much as possible. Of course, we don't guarantee any job, but we guarantee that you will have the skills as an expert. That's what we can guarantee. Um, to apply, you can go to um, maltrack.com/masters, or that's all what you need to do. Maltrack.com/masters, and you can apply from there. You can click download syllabus up here, and you'll get this nice PDF with the whole program. You can read it. You can look at all testimonials and what people are saying about our trainings in general, and as well you can click on apply now, which will take you here to fill an application. And as well, you can just scroll down here and you can see the application up here. Fill an application and click apply now. We'll ask you some questions. Make sure you are a good fit. You need to be, we don't have, like, you don't have to be like have a cash in your pocket to pay for the program. We don't have that. We have payment plans, but just we need to make sure that you have the commitment, you have a really good reason to take that program, not just curiosity, not just for fun. You're really wanting to build a career in that field. We need to see a real serious, you're really serious about your career, you're really serious about your commitment, and as well you're also serious financial commitment to that program as well. It's a 9-month program, so we have over 30 applications so far. We're going through all of them, so it's really going very fast, and um, we already have 4 students who joined, and we have others who are like joining very soon. So make sure that you catch the seat, because when it's sold out, it will be just sold out. So, and we will have people who are joining our live training, which is very limited seats, and we already have seats taken by other people outside of that training. And we have also an internship. We cannot have 100 people interns. We will not be able to care about all of them, and I give a personal attention to every single one of you. So this program is very limited, and really make sure you're taking the leap of faith and joining that program. Once you fill the application and you are qualified for everything, you will have a call with me, one on one, and we'll talk about exactly your goals. We'll go through the application, make sure that we are a good fit together, and I can help you really achieve the goals. So even if you are not 100% sure, just fill the application. Make sure that you show up in the call with me in a Zoom call, and we will see what exactly you want in your career and how we can help you through that. And we can see what we can, even if you have already the IT skills, we can replace it with more programming skills or cloud skills or Docker skills, and I can help you through all of that. So that's basically it. Just apply. Make sure that you are comfortable to commit, um, time wise, effort wise, financial wise, for the next 9 months, and as well you're willing to be part of this incredible team. And that's all. I will go for any questions. Actually, because when I share the screen, I don't really able to read the questions. So this is how to apply for the master's program. Just go to maltrack.com/masters. From there, you can download the full syllabus, and as well you can apply through the application inside the page. So let me read. Um, how much does the master program total cost? I cannot say really the full cost because sometimes it depends on the person, but you can imagine it's $6,000 plus. Um, because we have the live trainings, we have the third party trainings, we have three different live trainings. Each one of them, the early bird price is 1,800. So you can imagine just an idea of how the price look like. You have my full attention for 9 months. You have the internship. We're bringing HR consultant, and as well you have access to third party trainings that we purchase for every single person who joined. We purchase them. Make sure you have this labs and you have this library of trainings, and you have these third party trainings and so on, so we can make sure that you are on the right track. Um, any other question, guys? And at the end of the day, if that's not for you, or if it's too much for you, or as the financial commitment is too difficult, there is also we do have upcoming live trainings as well. As you might know, we have the in-depth digital investigation ABT threat hunting that covers more about threat hunting. About We talk about malware a lot in this training, not malware analysis per se, but we talk about malware, how they are working, the cloud attacks, how we can detect them, how we can respond to them, how to create new detection rules, how we can investigate a machine, how we can perform digital forensics, memory forensics, using PowerShell to automate all of this process and collect lots of artifacts across the whole enterprise. It's part of the master's program, but if you want to purchase this only, you can purchase it from maltrack.com. You can go to learn more, and you'll have more information here. And as well, you can reserve your seat. Will be from 25th to 28th. We have as well the hands-on malware analysis and incident response that will be from 13 to 16 of June. We'll dive more in this one into target ransomware attacks, into not only how malware looks like, but how real attacks, the malware that's happening right now, the fileless attacks, the target attacks, and the target ransomware attacks, how they look like and how you can investigate them further. It's very up to date, and it's really, really a great training. We also have another one that's in August 22 to 25th, which is advanced red teaming. It's about evolving your own malware, bypass different defenses, and actually compromising a real organization. You can you can purchase each one of these separately if you want to, or you can purchase the whole master's program where you go through all of these live trainings with labs, additional labs, with the recordings, and with my support through the whole process. It's absolutely up to you what you're gonna choose. And yeah, any question, guys? On YouTube, any questions? Facebook, LinkedIn. If there's no questions, we will end up here. Thank you guys for joining today. Really, thank you for joining. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks. I will try to keep it every second week. And please prepare your questions. We're here to answer your question. I know I might not be able to answer all the questions through Messenger, through LinkedIn, and so on. And I really can't have all the time to reply to every single message, but I'm here dedicating my time for you to answer all your questions. And I know it's not like I do analyze a malware in front of you here, but I do answer the most important questions. Is I give you the guidance, like what you should be doing, what you should be focusing on, what you should be learning, how you should be learning these skills, and as well we give you the how, we give you the full complete trainings in malchart.com. We have live trainings. If you like to be with me live, get to see your progress and get to help you if you have any question, or if you are stuck in any part. We have the recorded trainings as well, and we have a complete master's program if you really want to learn all these skills and to really have this all this knowledge. So anyway, if you want to apply for the master's program, make sure you go to maltrack.com/masters. We are starting in 2 weeks. We are starting on 15th of February. So make sure you book it as soon as possible and you get in as fast as possible. We are starting in really short time, and we already have lots of students who join. We already have lots of applications. So make sure that you join, you apply, and you are there with us. And that's all about it. See you in 2 weeks time. And